what this amendment will do is, really I'm explaining the bill and the amendment. The bill as amended, what it will do is, a lot of times situations happen where people are in married situations or in a relationship and they have a child, and come a later date, possibly after a divorce settlement has been filed, they find out the child was not truly theirs. Well, they're already paying child support, and what this bill will do, long and short is, and I'll get into some of the more details a little later, the long and short is allow for, make it so that they would not have to pay future child support payments. Now, this does not say anything about back child support payments, and actually I've read some of these other states, and some of these other states go back, and if they still owe child support payments, they wouldn't have to pay those either. My bill says that they still do have to pay back child supports, and in fact, my bill even goes farther, and I think than any of these other states does, and says they even have to pay another 60 days to make sure there's a smooth transition for the family. My bill, as amended, will make it so that only the non-biological parent may file for this petition, so we don't have a situation where someone was artificially inseminated or used an egg from another person, and they could somehow disestablish parentage of the other person. It sets up what court has to be done, and it also, unlike all these other states, it allows for the best interest of the child to be put in. I looked over all these other ones, and I believe we would be the only state that even takes the best interest of the child into consideration at all. I think only one of the states sort of left it ambiguous, and it said that, I believe it was Alabama, and it just said it reopens the case. It doesn't say what happens after that, but all the rest says pretty much it shall just disband. All the rest, none of them have best interest of the child at all as a factor that I could find. Mine takes into four factors, as well as best interest of the child before disestablishing the parentage, as well as doing other things into effect in cases like situations like adoption or voluntary acknowledgement, things along those lines. Talks about, in my bill also, a person would not be able to disestablish the financial obligation without also disestablishing visitation. So a person couldn't say, I want my visitation, but I don't want to pay. So if they want to have an active part in the child's life, they also have to pay for that active part. So I think that's another step where my bill is, I think, a little bit softer than every other state here that I saw on this sheet. And that's pretty much long and short of it what the steps are, and I'd be happy to answer questions on the bill.
Chairman Briley, did you seek recognition? We have a motion and a second on the bill, and we have not adopted the amendment, but we've had an explanation of the amendment, and it's a motion on the amendment. A second. You're recognized.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that I was going to be talking about the right document. We're looking at it. This is my 10th year up here. Been my last year for a while. And I think this is the most anti-child piece of legislation I've seen in 10 years. By far. Do you believe that premarital sex is appropriate?
I don't see what that has to do with this bill.
Has everything to do with this bill. Do you believe?
Explain to me how.
Well, answer the question first, and I'll explain it to you.
Well, I'm not sure what regards you're talking of, so please answer me the question.
Do you believe that premarital sex is appropriate?
I don't know what this has to do with the bill.
Well, I'm going to sit here and until I get an answer from you to that question, and we'll sit here with this committee until we get an answer to that question, because you're talking about children that result from situations where there's either adultery or premarital sex. Do you believe that premarital sex is appropriate?
In regards to what?
Children.
No, I don't think children should have premarital sex.
No, the children that result from premarital sex.
I
Representative
think
Campfield.
if
Answer my question, please. Do you believe that premarital sex is appropriate?
I think if someone is having premarital sex and they have a child that comes from that the people who created that child should be paying for it, yes.
So you believe that premarital sex is appropriate?
I can't make a value judgment on every person out there.
Do you believe that adultery is appropriate?
In my own personal view, or I can't, you're making me make value judgments on other people, and I can't.
I'm asking you about your personal opinions. Do you believe, in your opinion, that adultery is appropriate?
No.
Yet you want to punish the child that may result from an adulterous situation.
No.
Well, that's what you're doing here.
No, I want the person to take responsibility for their actions, and the person who they were adulterous with would be responsible for that.
So you want the person that was engaged in the adulterous situation to be responsible, but that may, in effect, harm the child.
By making someone who is rightfully, legally responsible pay for their financial, what they should have to pay for? Yes.
You want to put the child in the position of bearing the burden for the adult's conduct. Isn't that right?
No, the child never has to pay for it.
That's what your bill does.
No, I don't believe
Again,
it
you
does.
go back to pay. What do you mean by pay?
Excuse me?
What do you mean by pay?
I don't understand your question. In what regards? Where?
What do you mean by pay? Let me ask you this. What about my question don't you understand?
I don't understand in what regards you're talking of by pay. Pay is in what part of my bill?
Well, let's start with child support.
The children never pay the child support.
That's not what you said.
I don't know where I said in my bill that children pay child support.
Let's cut to the quick.
How can a child pay child support?
I'd like to move the bill to summer study.
I don't understand your question.
There's a motion. Is there a second? Second. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor of sending House Bill 1523 to summer study indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.